The rain on Varthus Prime didn't fall so much as hiss, acidic drizzle that turned steel green and flesh white. The slums outside the starport were full of it, the smell of metal, smoke, and the hollow sound of crying that nobody paid attention to anymore. Captain Elias Kerr didn't come here for charity. He was hunting for replacement parts, and maybe a drink strong enough to make him forget how empty his freighter had felt since his son's accident 3 years ago. But fate, or something crueler, had other plans. He spotted the crowd first, a small ring of off-world traders and locals gathered under a flickering neon awning. The smell of ozone and wet scales filled the air. When Elias pushed through, he saw the cause of the commotion. A man, tall, broad, with dull purple skin and ceremonial tattoos, was shouting in the native tongue of the Tichari. He held a chain in one hand, and at the other end of it was a girl. She looked barely 16. Her skin shimmered silver blue, her long ears pressed flat against her skull. Even in the rain, she was shaking. "She eats too much," the Tichari man barked. "Useless. She cannot even carry water. 50 credits and she's yours." The traders laughed. Some made crude remarks. Elias froze. He'd seen slavery before in the outer belts on the Rim Wars, on colonies too small for laws to matter. But something about the girl's eyes made him pause. They weren't just scared. They were resigned. As if this wasn't her first sale. The man shook her chain. 30. 20. Come. Someone take her. When no one did, he spat and shoved her to the ground. Elias found himself speaking before he thought. "I'll take her." The crowd turned. The alien father sneered. "You have credits, human?" Elias dropped a handful of chips. "More than she's worth to you." The man kicked the chips, counted quickly, and smirked. "She's yours. No refunds." He tossed the chain at Elias's feet and walked away without looking back. The girl didn't move. Elias crouched down. "You okay, kid?" She blinked, confused by the translator built into his voice module. Then softly, "You bought me?" "No," he said, and unclipped the shackle from her wrist. "I freed you." For the first time, she looked up. "Free?" she whispered, like it was a word from a storybook.
"Yeah."
"You're coming with me till we figure something out. What's your name?" She hesitated, then said, "Sarah." Back aboard the freighter Nomad's Grace, Elias found himself wondering what he'd done. He hadn't planned to rescue anyone, least of all a Tichari teen. But when he saw her trying to sleep curled in a corner, shivering under an emergency blanket, the decision didn't feel like a mistake. He brought her food, protein paste, and warm broth. She sniffed it suspiciously. "It's not poison," he said. "I'm a pilot, not a slaver." She took a bite, then another, then finished the bowl so fast it startled him. "How long since you ate?" he asked. She looked down. 2 days. Maybe 3. He nodded. "You can eat as much as you want here. You're safe." She looked up again, uncertain. "Safe with a human?" He half smiled. First time for everything. The next days were quiet. Sarah barely spoke. She flinched whenever the engines roared or when Elias entered a room too fast. But slowly, she started to help, cleaning filters, patching wires, fetching tools when he worked on the hyperdrive. She was clever, curious. One night, he found her sitting in the observation bay, staring at the stars. "They're so far," she said softly. "We used to think they were God's eyes, watching us. What do you think they are now?" She smiled faintly. "Places to run to." Elias sat beside her. "You've got that right." He didn't press her about her father, but the story came out anyway, piece by piece. Her tribe had fallen into debt after a drought. Her father had sold off his tools, his livestock, and finally his daughter. "He said it was my duty to help the family survive," she said. He said a girl is only valuable if she can bring something back. Elias clenched his fists. He's wrong. Sarah didn't answer. But that night, she slept in a bunk instead of the floor. A week later, they stopped at the trade hub of Kess Station. Sarah followed him through the market, her eyes wide at the colors and machines. A merchant offered him a discount on cybernetic tools if he sold the THRE pet with them. Elias's glare sent the man backing off fast. Back aboard the ship, Sarah asked quietly, "Why do you protect me?" Elias hesitated. "Because no one protected my son." He told her about Daniel, 17, bright, obsessed with flying. The crash had been no one's fault, but that didn't stop the guilt from eating him alive. Sarah touched his hand gently. "He is in the stars now." "Yeah," Elias said. "He'd have liked you." She smiled sadly. "Then I will try to be like him." Brave. When the patrol ship hailed them 2 weeks later, Elias almost ignored it until he heard the word slave. "This is Galactic Patrol Vessel Yahaan," the voice crackled. "You are harboring an unregistered THRE female. Records show she was sold illegally. Prepare for inspection." Sarah froze. "They'll send me back," she whispered. "Please, Captain, don't let them." Elias looked at her, terrified, small, but defiant, and felt something shift inside him. "Sit tight," he said. When the inspectors boarded, he handed over his papers. "The THRE girl?" the officer asked. "She's my adopted daughter," Elias said flatly. The officer blinked. "You what?" He pulled up the registry chip he'd forged minutes earlier, a small miracle of hacking and old war contacts. "Her name's Sarah Kerr. Check the code." The officer frowned but scanned it. The system chimed green. "Everything seems in order," the officer said, confused. After they left, Sarah stared at him. "You made me your daughter?" He grinned. "Paperwork's cheap. Family's not." She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she whispered, "Thank you, Dad." Elias froze. It had been years since anyone had called him that. And somehow it felt right. Months passed. The Nomad's grace became more alive. Sarah decorated the mess hall with painted stars. She learned to pilot small maneuvers, her hands steady and sure. She even laughed sometimes, a strange musical sound that Elias realized he'd missed in his ship for years. But one day, a transmission came through, encrypted THRE code. Sarah opened it before he could stop her. It was her father. "You belong to me," the voice snarled. "You ran from your debt, girl. The human stole what was mine. Return, or both of you will die." Sarah's hands shook. "He found us." Elias shut off the screen. "Let him come." 3 days later, a THRE raider ship appeared on their scanners. It was twice their size, armed and closing fast. "Dad," Sarah said, fear creeping into her voice, "we can't fight them." He smiled grimly. "Maybe not, but we can run smarter." He used the asteroid field nearby, spinning, broken rock, to hide the Nomad's grace. With Sarah at the controls, they weaved through gaps barely wider than their hull. The raiders followed, their engines flaring hot. "Now!" Elias barked.